So the big question is, how will this war in the Gulf end? It's no longer just America and Israel on the one side and Iran on the other. The entire Middle East, America's Gulf Arab allies from Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Oman, have all been dragged into this wider regional conflict. How may this possibly move towards some kind of cessation or culmination? I'm now joined by a very special guest. Professor Jeffrey Sachs is a leading economist with the Columbia University. Thank you very much, Professor, for speaking with us. First of all, what is your assessment of what has happened over these last 3 days? This joint American-Israeli airstrikes on Iran, the taking out of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran. What do you make of what's happened over these last 3 days?
This is a reckless, illegal, and very dangerous action. This is a blatant violation of the UN Charter, and it is leading to regional war, obviously. It has to stop. The way for this fighting to end is for the United States and Israel to leave, because they started this. This is why it happened. There was no motivation for it other than basically the hegemonic aspirations of Israel to control the Middle East and the United States to control the world. And other than that, there was no imminent threat. There was no reason for this. Killing the religious leader as well as the head of state of Iran was a poisonous action. The U.S. and Israel made a terrible mistake, and they have to stop the fighting.
President Trump's motivations, I'll get to Israel in 1 second, but President Trump's motivations in this war was to eliminate Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran. He's done that. He's achieved that already within the first 24 hours of this war. Why is he still continuing this war then?
How can a president of the United States have as a goal the murder of the head of state of another country? It's barbaric. If that's his goal, it's barbaric, it's illegal, it's vulgar, it's dangerous. Having said that, the United States should stop any further attacks and just leave.
Do you believe that Trump really cares about regime change? I mean, look at what he did in Venezuela. There was no regime change. He replaced one man with a woman. He can do the same thing in Iran.
He can't do anything other than commit murder or kidnap presidents, so everything is delusional. You are correct, though. He can just go home, which he should do. Leave the rest of us in peace. This is a move completely against the interests of the United States of America and against the opinion of the American people, who are 3-1, that is 75% to 25% against this action.
So why do you think he's continuing it, particularly for a president who came to office saying he's not going to, launch these endless wars in the Middle East or anywhere else in the world? His MAGA base doesn't approve of it. Why is he still stuck in this?
I think that there are two reasons. One, the U.S. deep state, which is led by the CIA, has global hegemonic aspirations. Those continue. And the CIA is the main driver of American foreign policy, not the President of the United States. The second reason is Israel. Israel is tightly connected with the CIA through Mossad. This is a long-standing plan. Netanyahu said yesterday this is the culmination of his 40 years dream. This isn't something that just came up last week because negotiations bogged down. This is something that Israel has been calling for decades. Israel has a very unusual stranglehold on the United States, including the CIA, which is in very close partnership with Mossad. So this is a deep state operation. It is also a part of a broader U.S.-Israeli hegemonic approach. It's not disconnected from what happened in Venezuela, because that's also part of the idea. The U.S. wants to control the Americas. It wants to control the Middle East. It wants to have the lever over oil. It wants to tell India whether to get oil or not to get oil, and at what price to get oil, and at what price not to get oil, and whether to trade with Russia. Now it wants to say whether to trade with Iran. Who's going to get control? So this is a matter of control. It's absolutely reckless and completely in violation of every international standard.
The Prime Minister of India was there in Israel 2 days before Israel and America launched this operation against Iran, and many are saying that that's not a coincidence. What do you make of that?
I hope it is a coincidence. This action by Israel is a criminal action, in my view, and a very dangerous one. And I hope that India, as president of the BRICS this year, upholds the UN Charter. The United States and Israel have blatantly, vulgarly, and dangerously threatened the UN Charter with this action. The UN Charter, Article 2, Paragraph 4, says that no nation may threaten the use of force or use force against another sovereign state. That's straightforward. So this is absolutely a vulgar and dangerous violation. And Netanyahu explained it, as I said, clearly. He's been dreaming of this for decades. I've been making that very point for years and years and years. And then Netanyahu came out and confirmed it. This is his lifelong ambition, to bring the United States into a civilizational war with Iran. How reckless is that?
Iran has responded by targeting some of these Gulf Arab allies of the United States: Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Oman, Qatar, Kuwait. Why do you think they're doing that, and how may the U.S. choose to now respond to this?
Well, they're not targeting those countries. They're targeting the U.S. military bases in those countries. This is a difference. These countries and many others are essentially occupied by the United States. When you have a U.S. military base, you're occupied by the United States. You lose your freedom. You lose your maneuver. You have the CIA hosted in your own country. You're always looking over your own shoulder. What Iran is doing is attacking a network of U.S. military bases along the Persian Gulf.
America was the main security guarantor for all of these countries: Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman, Qatar. That security guarantee seems a bit weak now, given what's happened in the last few days.
I often quote a famous adage of Henry Kissinger, who said that to be an enemy of the United States is dangerous, but to be a friend is fatal. Countries that rely on the U.S. security guarantee go under, usually by the United States itself, which turns on you. But to be a friend of the United States is absolutely to put yourself in peril. Look at Ukraine. The United States said, "We have your back. You will join NATO." And Ukraine is being destroyed because a regime came to power that said, "We'll go with the U.S. rather than neutrality." And the consequences are devastating. For these Gulf states, it's a big mistake that they think that their security comes from the United States. Their insecurity comes from the United States.
So, finally, Professor Sachs, how do you see this war ending? How do you see this war ending, and by when do you see this war ending?
I know how it can end, which is that the United States and Israel should go back to their own homes and stop bothering other people, and the war would end. Iran would stop fighting, and the war would end. That's how it should end. How it will end, I cannot say, obviously, because we're led by irrational and dangerous people in the United States and Israel. So they have lusted for this war against their own publics, against all logic, against all strategic considerations. And these are very dangerous people. And in the United States, we do not have a constitutional order. We do not have Congress that plays a role. This is basically an executive branch decision-making by the CIA and by the White House. So it's very dangerous and very unpredictable. This makes no sense, this war. It's dangerous for everybody. It's dangerous for India. It's dangerous for China. It's dangerous for the BRICS. It's dangerous for Europe. It's dangerous for the Middle East. It's dangerous for the United States. It was a war of choice that never should have happened.
All right, Professor Jeffrey Sachs from the Columbia University, thank you very much for joining us here on CNN News.
Good to be with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.